Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. We're coming to you live from the 529 conference. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. And as part of the Nasdaq Fund Network's partnership with ISS Market Intelligence, we're pleased to be hosting several key players, trends, and topics at today's 529 conference. Education savings is such an important part of any family's financial journey, and Nasdaq is pleased to partner with several of these key players in attendance at today's conference to provide transparency, awareness, and distribution for families saving for college and other education expenses. Joining me for this segment is Jordan Lee, founder and CEO of Backer, a social savings platform that helps families save for education and avoid the next student debt crisis. Jordan, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thanks for having me.
You got it. And tell us more about Backer.
Sure. So Backer is a social savings platform which helps ordinary families save for college and using the right vehicle, which we really believe is a 529 account. So it's very simple to get started on your phone or on the web, and we get you up and running with a great 529 plan really quickly. But the cool, unique thing is it's social from like the beginning to the end. So you're kind of building this team of supporters for your child who contribute, not just once, but ideally every month, certainly every year for the birthday. And yeah, so we've been doing it for a couple of years now. We have about 60,000 users. About 40% of our assets are actually from those gifters. So the different kind of relatives and people chipping in. And our demographics are pretty new too. So it's 60% female, 50% non-white, and a household income under 100K. About 70% of our families fit that description.
And you are the keynote speaker at this year's 529 conference, which brings together the state treasurers and investment professionals that make up the government-sponsored college savings industry. What message are you hoping to convey?
I think we're at like a very exciting moment as an industry, because after COVID, as it kind of winds down a bit, we've realized that fintech adoption has just accelerated massively. And you see it in so many statistics about how many families in the US are using digital financial products. And many, even who weren't before, like the baby boomer generation, I think they went from around 37% or so that were into digital finance to 80% or so. So that doubled basically. And if you ask these folks, they're sticking around. Once you kind of try fintech, you're not excited to go back to kind of the way you used to do things. And so, we view this as a really exciting opportunity for the 529 industry to play a role. And right now, to be honest, 529s are kind of missing from the conversation a little bit in fintech. And so we view our role as kind of being that conduit and helping the industry reach more families through these new, more technologically driven ways.
And I understand you're growing rapidly and recently raised $8.4 million in funding led by early investors in Chime, which I believe is the largest private consumer fintech company. And it's expected to have a huge IPO next year. What are your plans for 2022 now that you have the fresh round of capital?
Well, first, we're just adding a bunch of really incredible people to the team. So in the last, 6 months, we've tripled our team, added some amazing people that we got from WhatsApp, from Facebook, Chime, across engineering, across growth, and across product. So we're kind of very focused on one, building out a whole new set of exciting features to help our families save together, so that it's not this lonely sort of isolating thing, but you have all this support from your friends and relatives on an ongoing basis. And then investing heavily in growth. So, we're excited to both grow a lot in 2022, but also bring on a new set of partners to help us do that, whether that's additional 529 plans or other kind of partners in the industry that could help us reach our audience.
I just think it's so smart that you have the social component there, because people understand social and how it motivates each other more than they might do 529 plans. So that social component just makes so much sense. Where do you see Backer in 5 or 10 years? What's your big vision for the future?
Yeah, well, if we zoom out a bit, I think finance and personal finance, fintech, as we've known it for the last couple of decades, has been kind of dominated by the idea of personal finance, which is this kind of very individual thing. And we see a future in which finance is increasingly social in many different ways. So, with Backer, Backer.com, we're trying to build this kind of graph for social financial activity. And we're starting with saving socially with 529 plans, because that's such a powerful starting point. and such a real problem. There's the huge crushing student debt burden out there. And so if we can get ahead of the next student debt crisis, I think that's a huge value to our society. But over time, I think finance should be increasingly social, increasingly multiplayer, and we want to be at the vanguard of that shift.
All right. We appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thank you.